In this video, we're going to cover the winterization process for our Mercury 4-stroke outboard engine. Properly preparing your engine for the winter months is an easy way to make sure your boat spends more time on the water and less time in the shop. The first thing that we're going to be doing is addressing the fuel system. The items that we're going to be using for this process are the Quicksilver Quick Store Fuel Stabilizer, as well as a new fuel filter. Before you start, be sure engine ignition key switch is in the off position. Next, remove the engine cowling and locate the fuel filter. Move the lift handle so that the locking tab clears the bracket. Be mindful of the fuel
Using
hose
the lift handle, pull the fuel filter out of its opening.
Push in on the fuel hose release tabs and disconnect the fuel hoses from the fuel filter. Insert the lower hose into the hose holder to prevent it from dropping into the fuel filter hole. Install the new fuel filter so that the arrows point towards the engine following the flow of the fuel. Connect the fuel hoses back onto the fuel filter and be sure that they are securely installed. Once inspected and free of any leaks, install the fuel filter back into the opening. Position the lift handle so that the locking tab is secured under the bracket. Pour the proper amount of Quick Store into the fuel tank. 1 ounce treats 5 gallons. Finally, start and let the engine run for 5 minutes to ensure that the product treats the entire fuel system. Okay, so we ran our engine for about 5 minutes. We cycled the new fuel through the system. We checked for leaks on that filter, and now it's time to change the oil. First thing that we're going to need to change our oil is our Quicksilver oil filter, our oil filter tool if necessary, 5/8 socket and ratchet, some clean rags, 2 7/16 drain hoses, our oil, and our drain pan. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to trim this engine up to make sure that any remaining oil drains back down into the sump. After about a minute, tilt the engine to a vertical position. Using a 5/8 deep well socket or a wrench, loosen the oil drain valve just to the point where it can be turned by hand. Be careful not to open the valve or the oil will start to drain. Once the valve has been loosened, attach a 12mm or 7/16 inside diameter drain hose to the oil drain valve. Loosen the oil drain valve 2.5 turns to allow the oil to drain. Be mindful not to exceed 2.5 turns. Loosening the drain valve past 2.5 turns may cause damage to the seal. Next, we will change the oil filter. Remove the plug from the oil trough and attach a 7/16 diameter drain hose. Position the opposite end of the hose above the drain pan. If the oil filter is secured tightly, you may need an oil filter wrench or a socket to remove the filter. Once the oil filter is removed, clean any remaining oil from the oil trough with a rag and install the plug back into the oil trough. Apply a layer of oil with your finger to the oil filter gasket. Do not use grease. Screw the new filter on until the gasket contacts the oil filter mounting base. Then seat the filter with another 3/4 to 1 full turn. Before we add new oil, make sure to close the oil drain valve. Now is a good time to clean up any old oil. Remove the oil fill cap and add the proper amount of recommended engine oil. This will bring the oil level to the midpoint of the operating range. For exact engine oil capacity, refer to your owner's manual or maintenance decal on your engine. And now it is time to change the lower unit gear oil. The first thing that we're going to need is our Quicksilver high performance gear lube pump. I got a ratchet with a 6-inch extension and a 10mm socket, clean rag, ratchet, and an 1 1/16 deep well socket. Make sure your outboard is still in a vertical operating position. Remove the fill drain plug. Then remove the vent plug. Allow the gear lube to completely drain into the drain pan. While this is draining, prepare your new gear lube and gear lube pump. Place the gear lube tube into the fill hole and add the new gear oil. Stop adding oil when you see oil appear at the vent hole. Install the vent plug and sealing washer before removing the tube and pump. Remove the tube and pump and install a cleaned fill drain plug and sealing washer. We are ready for the final step in putting your engine to bed for the winter. The last thing that we will be doing is fogging the engine. We're gonna need two things: our ratchet, our extension, and our spark plug socket, and our Quicksilver storage seal engine fogger. Let's get started. First thing that we're going to do is remove the spark plug wires. Next, we will remove all of the spark plugs. Last step, fogging down the engine. Using the Quicksilver storage seal, spray 1 ounce of fogging oil in the inside of each spark plug hole to prevent corrosion. 1 ounce is about 5 seconds. Now we are going to crank the engine for a few seconds to cycle the storage seal. Next, install the spark plugs. Once the spark plugs are firmly seated, now we are going to reinstall our spark plug wires. Be sure that the wires are seated firmly. Okay, winterization process is complete. You can safely stow your boat away for the winter and know that next spring when you hit the water, it's going to be ready to go. For more information regarding your engine, please be sure to refer to your owner's manual.